and we are live. Hello, everyone. Hello, Michael. Welcome to our March Talk to an Expert. My name is Britt, and I'll be today's host of our monthly Talk to an Expert at Eatron Technologies. We are very excited that you're here with us today for our very special Talk to an Expert. So we should go live every last Thursday of each calendar month, but sometimes we switch the calendars around a bit. So today it's a Friday, but keep your agendas open and follow us on LinkedIn so that you can stay on top of the announcements and so that you don't miss a Talk to an Expert. If you do miss one, they're available on Spotify, on YouTube, and on our website. So for those who don't know us, Eatron is an international technology scale-up dedicated to making software-defined vehicles a reality for OEMs worldwide. Our house rules, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to put them in the chat, and then our lovely Michael will answer them at the end. Make sure you put your question as soon as you think of one, so that we don't run out of time and miss your question. So today we are joined by Michael Bischoff, Director, Global Sales and Business Development at Eatron Technologies. Hi, Michael. Could you please introduce yourself?
Yes, for sure. Hi, Britt. Hello together. It's a pleasure for me to meet all of you here in our Talk to an Expert live chat for today. And sorry that we have to postpone because I was not available yesterday. But let me do my best to entertain you this Friday evening before you join the weekend. So myself, I have more than 32 years automotive safety electronics experience. So quite old guy. Started in the beginning with hardware and software development for airbag ECUs, so safety from the beginning. And then I worked on restraint systems, on steering wheels, on seat belts, stuff like that for many years. And at that time, I also joined key account management and start to work on the sales side more and more on a global scale for a German OEM. And was a quite good experience. So with all this background, I then start to set up a new business unit for company Bre. Maybe most of you are aware of them. To start their e-mobility business. And we could achieve a strong growth within a short period of time with many new products, many new customers. So really exciting. Then I joined Eatron more or less a year ago, and I'm responsible for global sales and business development, bringing all my experience in, and I'm really happy to bring Eatron to the market entry and to grow the business as soon as I did it in the past with other opportunities.
Super. Thank you so much. Well, everyone, that is Michael. So let's dive in straight away. So could you tell me what is the reason, could you tell us what is the reason that 12-volt lithium-ion batteries, along with 12-volt battery management systems, have become or are becoming so popular?
Yep. So there are different market drivers for 12-volt batteries. So let me start with the first one, which is related to ADAS systems, autonomous driving systems, becoming more and more popular in the market, and they have a different need compared to electronics in the past. They need a good power prediction to control the autonomous systems for a certain period of time if power get lost and the driver or the vehicle itself need to come to a safe state, drive to the left side or right side, whatever, in which country you are. and come to a complete stop before power gets turned off completely. So this prediction must be very accurate over the whole lifetime of the battery, and therefore a good understanding of all cell chemistry is required. And based on this knowledge, we develop also our algorithms for SOC and SOX to have a good understanding of the lifetime and behavior of the battery. Many OEMs start also considering these ADAS requirements in their future power net architectures. So this means the whole new car line at OEMs get lithium-ion batteries to serve this ADAS functionality if it is available in some of these vehicles. The second driver for lithium-ion batteries could be the expected lead-acid ban. There was a discussion already in 2024, but it was not decided by the EU government. So next decision point is in 27, and it seems that this will come in this time frame also. And this would mean that all other vehicles which do not have which would not have lithium batteries for ADAS functions, these vehicles would get also lithium-ion batteries, and in this way, the volume and the market demands will grow very fast and heavily. The requirements for power protection and also the safety standards could be a bit lower for these vehicle types. So in this way, I see a good chance to come up with standards for lithium-ion batteries across different OEMs, which would help to reduce development time, reduce cost, which is the ultimate target, let me say, for the second or third generation of these batteries to stay competitive in this market. So the biggest challenge in such a case would be, let me call it the plug-and-play solution for the battery management systems, that you can take the batteries and put it in these cars, and the battery is running.
Cool, thank you. So could you elaborate a bit more on what are the biggest challenges for 12-volt battery management systems?
Sure. The difference of the PowerNet batteries are different to the drivetrain batteries used in electric vehicles. The PowerNet batteries are continuously on and need to supply power to all ECUs inside the vehicle at any time. This is different. Drivetrain batteries from PHEV vehicles or BEV vehicles can be turned off when the vehicle is parked. And in this way, there are many different opportunities to get an idea about the status of the battery and to calculate the SOX functionalities. Along with these continuous on requirements, there are also challenges to selected components which are used in the hardware, because lifetime is much longer compared to other ECUs in the car. So these are also some challenges on a hardware side. And on the software side, the recalibration of the algorithms is very tough because, as I mentioned, you cannot turn off the battery and align when you turn it on again. So for this, different approaches are necessary for the different battery types. The interface with the different ADAS components are also very complex. As you can imagine today, everything gets complex in the world, but also here the interface is not easy to handle and needs to be developed very carefully. And this is also the reason why these applications get an ASIL rating of C or even D in some cases, depending on the functionality which need to be supported by this battery. So if you think about braking and steering, you need this high safety levels and safety ratings.
Thank you. We're going to take a little spin for the last question, because we usually don't really promote Eatron. We usually get people's like expertise and thoughts and stuff. But to change a bit today's episode, I would like to ask you what makes Eatron different from other BMS suppliers. It will give the audience a bit of an insight as to what we do differently.
Sure. So Eatron was founded to redefine automotive software and for software-defined vehicles, which is our old slogan from the beginning. And this is somehow the DNA of the company also, with a lot of people and experts we have. But we have recognized also that software will not work without hardware. And especially when you talk about battery management systems, which is integrated in the battery itself, we cannot share hardware with other functionalities in a vehicle. So we need an own hardware. Because of that, we decided to develop and produce also the hardware for 12-volt battery management systems for lithium-ion batteries. And in between, we have achieved an B-sample level with the different OEMs and following now towards C-sample level and further needs towards production. Our well-experienced system development team here is quite important to take care that our hardware and software works very well together to achieve the customer requirements. They use our requirements management tools as are known in the market to track each single requirements we get from a customer. And here we talk about a number of thousands of requirements to give you an idea what or how big this challenge is here. And with these tools, we are able to track each single requirement from customer specification down to dedicated test cases. So for every requirement, you need also a test case. And you have to track also backwards. So for each single test case, you need to know which requirement is associated to have an idea that at the end all requirements are tested and tested fine. And to do also the documentation which is necessary for safety purposes. On the basic software side, we implemented in these B samples customer-specific AUTOSAR software from Vector as the operating system. So this is one of the two big providers for these operating systems. And due to customer requirements, we selected the AUTOSAR system from Vector. The application software itself is completely our own development and the area where we are coming from, and also our own know-how, which we could patent it also in between. Got some patents in the United States for our software most recently, which makes us very proud on what we achieved so far. The so-called SOX functions and the battery features like battery balancing are based on long experience of our experts, and think that this is one of the differentiators or one of the key differentiators from Eatron towards competition, that we have a good knowledge on the chemistry, and along with the chemistry also the SOX functions. And so far we can say, based on what we showed to our customers, we were involved in a higher demand on RFQs, which makes us busy for sure to answer all the RFQs, to run through all the onboarding processes with the customer, to get integrated in their supplier system. But this is some challenging work at the moment, but drives us also forward to book real business at the end of the day, or real serious business at the end of the day, which is our overall target. So Besides the daily development, we had to implement also the necessary processes to achieve, for example, ASPICE level 1, which was assessed last autumn by a third party. And we are very proud that we could achieve this in a very short period of time. And the target for this year is to achieve level 2. And as most of the guys in the audience know, for level 3, it will take a bit longer because you need more projects you have done, and then you can achieve also in level 3. Processes for sure follow the V model, which is a standard development model in this area. And for the functional safety requirements, we are following the ISO 26262, which is also a standard requirement. And we have dedicated experts with a lot of experience in each area, which help us so far to make these fast steps on the market, and looking forward to book first series business within this year. And then the success story can get a real boost, as we say in startups, to enter the market on a longer period of time also. For sure, there are a lot of more things to say. Maybe let's give the audience a bit more time for questions and answers. And yeah, feel free to start with the first one.
Sure, cool. Thank you so much. You've given a lot of insight, so thank you. We already have 2 questions in the chat. I have some more questions. If people want to, take more time.
Yep.
But let's answer the questions in the chat first, and then if we have some time left, then if other people want to ask questions, that would be great. So Aika is saying, I've recently heard that most breakdowns of EVs are related to 12-volt battery. Technically, you wouldn't really need a 12-volt system if you have a 400, 800 volt battery and a DC-DC. Is there any chance to get rid of the 12-volt battery?
Yeah, that's a real good question. So in general, I would say yes. But if you look on all the safety requirements and the availability, DC converters are not mature enough, so far at least, to supply continuous power to the 12-volt power net. So a lot of electronic units in a vehicle still run with 12-volt and will do so for quite a long time. And for this purpose, you need a 12-volt power net and a stable power net also. And what I explained earlier also, the 12-volt battery is continuously on, and this means the 12-volt battery turns on and off also the 400 or 800 volt batteries. So also for this purpose, to get the vehicle system started, you need a 12-volt battery. So the size may be a smaller one, because when the vehicle is running properly, the DC-DC converters are used to supply power to the power net. But there are still a lot of situations where the battery is needed, as I said, to start the vehicle itself, but also if the DC-DC fail, you need to continue driving, give the driver a warning to stop the vehicle after a certain period of time, because he run out of battery if the DC-DC is not working anymore.
Cool. Well, I hope that answered your question, Aika. Thank you for asking a question. Thanks, Michael. We've also actually asked some Eatronians to ask some questions in the chat. Annette is a very recurring one who helps us out every month to ask questions. So thank you, Annette, for asking a question. She says, thank you for these insights, Michael. The lead acids ban seems inevitable. When do you expect it?
The next decision point is around our market entry in 27. So the decision point itself is earlier, around 25. And it's more or less a political decision also. We cannot really influence. We have to take it as it is or as it comes. But we need to prepare for that. And if you see that the market entry for these requirements is in 27, with a development time of roughly 3 to 4 years, the decisions to start these developments will come at the year change 23 to 24, beginning of 24 latest, but is coming soon. And for sure, we want to be prepared for that. And thinking towards that also with battery suppliers, for example, to work on this standardization I talked earlier, what is necessary to do on a battery management side to support that. So usually China market is coming a bit later than Europe, but follows soon with requirements for the Chinese market. US is not quite clear at the moment, but expected also to be followed a bit later.
Cool, thank you. We've just received another question, which is very exciting. Do you expect a general shift in the automotive industry from 12 volt to 48 volt for EVs like Tesla?
I expected this question. Tesla made an announcement a few weeks ago that they will change the power net to 48 volt. It's something they can do because they have a lot of components developed by themselves and even produce them by themselves. So this is a very special situation. If you look on all the other OEMs globally, they buy different ECUs from different suppliers. So this would be really tough to handle that and to make it happen. So I think Tesla is a special case here and don't expect it, at least not quickly, with the other OEMs.
I hope that answered your question. I'm actually going to ask you another question. I was wondering if Eatron is going to become also a hardware manufacturer, because we always focus so much on software, and we've sure received a lot of questions and inquiries about hardware. So I was wondering if you could elaborate a bit more on that.
Yeah. Sorry. So yes, we will become a hardware supplier. Let me say a hardware supplier to the market, and we will take in more and more at the moment, and will work with EMS partners. EMS means external manufacturing services or electronics manufacturing services, and these partners are selected. We are already working with them towards how a production line looks like, what is their responsibility, what is our responsibility, and are also close to finalize the contracts with them. And in this way, we are involved in the production process there, and will supply the products at the end as an Eatron product to the market. And this gives us also some flexibility to be fast, because they have the production lines available there. We can access them. We, let me say, only need the end-of-line tester, which is product specific. Still a lot of work to do, but the whole setup of a plant is not necessary. So this is one thing. Another thing is we need to support battery suppliers in different markets or in different regions. For example, in China, or maybe also in the US. And this could mean that we need an EMS partner in China, or a production in China. And it's the easiest way to realize this is together with an EMS partner in China. And in this way, we can be fast. And at the moment, time to market is one of the key drivers for us to be successful with our own market entrance. And this total package gives us the real need for the market.
Cool, thanks. I have one more. Do you influence also next generation 12-volt BMS development?
Yes, we do. So 12-volt lithium-ion batteries so far seems to be a niche market. You can start with battery cells. All the big battery cell suppliers in the world are not really involved in 12-volt lithium-ion batteries. On the battery side, a lot of lead-acid battery producers of today also look forward what is the next product they need, and these are lithium-ion batteries. So these guys are in this market. On one side, let me say on a customer side for us more or less. And if we look on the other side towards semiconductor suppliers, for example, there are only limited number of special semiconductors available for this application. And from this point of view, I would say it is still a niche market at the moment, sure, with a strong potential to grow very fast if the lead-acid ban is coming. But it is necessary to work close with these suppliers together to get the right components on a technical side and also on a cost side for sure. Price pressure will increase by generation. So we also need some dedicated components which are optimized for this application technical-wise and also cost-wise. So just to give you an example, we work very close with Infineon. They use our know-how on AI to develop their next generation microcontrollers and ASICs, which are necessary, and we leverage for sure from their components and use them today in our BMS hardware, and also in future projects.
Cool. We actually just received a question from Amadeo. He is asking, what do you think of alternative technologies to lithium ion, for example, supercapacitors?
That's a good one.
He's testing you.
It's under discussions on the OEM side to get a mix between capacitors and battery cells. So you have with capacitors you have advantages on a power side, and with batteries you have advantages on the energy side. And in some applications you need a mix of both. And the idea to solve this are so-called supercapacitors or lithium caps. And the supercapacitors are coming close to the market now in several applications. The lithium capacitors are limited on the supplier side, so there are not so many companies working in this area. And it will take also a while to get these components ready for market entry. So it's also a long way to go to build some batteries out of these single capacitors.
Thanks. We actually just got another question in from Yogesh, who's been on our podcast before. How do you see 12-volt battery penetration in low-end cars? Will it remain applicable for high-end premium cars only?
For high-end, the decisions are made and developments are running. This is what we work on today. For low-end cars, it will come through the lead-acid ban. So if lead-acid is not allowed anymore, an alternative is necessary. And so far, it looks like lithium-ion batteries will be the alternative. means also a huge production volume is necessary to replace lead acid batteries, but the industry is on a way to provide this battery, starting from cells through the pack, and also on our side with battery management systems. They are becoming also more and more popular.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. We ended actually right on time. Well, thank you for joining today's show, and to answer all my questions and answer everybody's questions in the chat. Thank you for everyone who has joined us today. We'll announce soon, probably next week, when our next one will be, and our guest. If there's a specific topic that you would like to see this year, make sure to add it in the comments so that I know, and so that we know, so that we can schedule something fun for you. So thanks, Michael, for your time today.
Thank you from my side also to have a chance here, and to all the audience. If you have additional questions, feel free to contact me, michael.bischoff@eatron.com. So I would be prepared to answer.
Cool. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye. Have a great weekend.